Now we're live. Like she be up, Smokey is back there playing with my emotions. I hadn't gave a whole spiel and everything. We're back, techies. That's right. I know. Used to seeing this on Saturdays, but nah, we came back at you again. Tech Tip Tuesday, right? So with Tech Tip Tuesday, it's just to give you tips, things I discovered, not meant to be on here long, 3, 4, 5 hours. We ain't doing that. Just a little something, something. All right. So I was out um, searching the internet, looking for tips to give, looking for things to share with you. And I thought I'd give you like the underbelly of Linux. This is the hardcore stuff I want to say. So let's get into it. All right. So Amazon, let me scroll up here. Well, here it is right here. I don't know if you are familiar with Dent OS. DenTOS. All right. You're like, what is Dent OS? What is the Dent project? Okay, so really the knit and the grit of Linux is the kernel and understanding that. And really anything dealing with an operating system is the kernel. But there's so many different things and so many different modules. And keyword there is modules, drivers that you can install into the kernel. So this I want to kind of reserve Tech Tip Tuesdays for like the hardcore underbelly um, Linux stuff, like things that you didn't know and you go on a search and discover and so forth, right? Working out at PF and saw you pop up loud. I was dropping like, you welcome, you welcome, you welcome. So uh Amazon, oh yeah. And if you all didn't catch us on the 300K, 500K earners, we dropped some jewels tonight. So go watch the videos. If you're 300K, 500K, I dropped some jewels in there. Shout out to the 100K earners as well too. Shout out for those that are out there in the audience. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Don't forget to share this out. All right, so here we go. All right, so Dent OS and the kernel. All right, so let's back up. The kernel is you have a kernel in Microsoft, you have a kernel in Ubuntu. Any operating system has a kernel. And I've shown this before. I'll show it again, and then we're gonna get into it. So let's well, kernel.org is one, but we're gonna get into. Let me show you what the kernel is. Now, kind of want to reserve this to talk Linux talk. Just something to give you things to think about. So let me go to images. So I've shown this before. The kernel right here, this is what the kernel is. That kernel is, I don't know, you want to say it, you want to call it the gateway drug, if you want to call it that. So the kernel lets you, allows you to talk, your operating system to talk to your hardware, your CPU, your memory, your hard drives, any devices that you have, physical devices that you have. There has to be some type of driver for it or some type of module that is loaded into the kernel that says, "Hey, this device is recognized by this driver," right? So let's fast forward and talk about this dentOS Dent OS project. So the Dent project right here is an open source ecosystem utilizing the Linux kernel, SwitchDev, and other Linux based ventures. Is now a part of the Just Walk Out technology that lets shoppers enter a retail environment, grab what they want, and leave without the need for a checkout line. So if you ever wondered how in the world did Amazon do all of that with you go into the store. Here's the Dent OS project. So, want to give you tech tips. This is a tech tip. Look at that. Now you know where it came from, right? So this article is old, but here let's read about it. Amazon on November 15th announced that the dentOS deployment in the third-party customer stores worldwide to streamline the customer experience and scale in-store operations. The Dent OS enables just walkout technology or JWO technology to connect and manage thousands of devices like cameras, sensors, entry, exit gates, and access points on the network edge. What you say? I do Spark shopping for customers at Walmart. I just walk up and scan my QR code and leave. Exactly. So this is what you want to know, where that technology came from. You want to know what that is, what it is. And I'm going to really get into some knitting grit. I can't stay here long because I promised D I ain't gonna stay here long. I'm just here to let you know how where to look and what these things are and where these things came from. So Dent OS, open source project, right? So is now read that sentence again. Dent OS enables the JWO or just walkout technology to connect and manage thousands of devices like cameras, sensors, entry, and exit gates and access points on the network edge. Network edge. I keep telling you edge computing, edge computing, edge computing, edge computing. You use your phone, you use your tablet, you're driving your car, you're out on a boat, you're on a ferry, you're moving around, you're on a plane. Edge computing, right? So let's go. According to Amazon, Dent provides access to open source based switches at a lower cost. And we're going to get into it and we'll go quickly. Just bear with me. All right. Switches at a lower cost and more flexibility than proprietary switches with locked in systems. So they're talking about stuff like Cisco, Juniper, vendor heavy driven. HP has switches, Dell has switches, those things, right? Amazon adoption and deployment is an example of open source power noted by I'm gonna call him Armpit, but Arpit, Arpit, General Manager of Networking, Edge, and IoT at the Linux Foundation. In just 3 years, the Dent community created a working platform for disaggregated networks to power multiple device locations at the edge, now used by top retail giants to streamline operations. The undertaking is only possible by the power of collaborative open source development. All right, so let's roll over. Let's get out of here. And before I do, kernels. Decide you can go to you want to update your to the latest and greatest kernel. Go to kernel.org, download the kernel, play around with it. It is you'll thank me later. All right, we'll have to get into that. Maybe I'll do that next week. All right, so here's the Dent OS project. You can read their latest announcement and you can download it. So let me blow this up. About Dent. At the Linux Foundation project, Dent utilizes the Linux kernel, SwitchDev, and other Linux-based projects as the basis for building a new standardization network operating system without abstractions or overhead. All the underlying infrastructure uses ASIC and silicon for networking and data path. It says while existing abstractions, APIs, drivers, low level overhead, and other open source software are simplified. Dent uses silicon vendors such as ODMs, SIs, OEMs, and end users across verticals to enable transition to disaggregated networks. Now I know you're like Tamika, you keep talking about disaggregated networks. What is that? So teach you how to fish. Highlight, and I actually have it up over here. Let me pull it over. Doo, 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 doo. You just type in disaggregated networks. So this one came out on June 30th of 2022. Let me blow this up. Oh, can you not see it? Oh no, you see it. I'm looking at the wrong screen. I'm looking at my screen on what I wanted to show you. So let me blow that up. All right, the rise of disaggregation in the telecom industry. Then it's just talking telecom, but we're just getting the definition of it here. Industry takes a page from cloud native revolution that took place with compute and storage for hyperscalers. Essentially, network disaggregation is the separation of hardware and software components that carry out main functions of a network on switches, routers, and other traditional and monolithic networking hardware. This aggregating the network infrastructure allows service providers to enhance their deployment and management process while reducing and improving security. Right? So then they go and say this is done using they go into soft-defined networking, automation tools, and open networking. So they kind of give you a little insight here. Let me pull this back down because it's a little big, so you can see everything all in one. So here, your traditional on your left hand side, you got some vendor, you got hardware and software together, you got a command line. Here, they're saying, hey, I have a soft-defined network and I got some software and the hardware, I don't care what it is. It's not tied to that hardware. I just dropped that software on there. And so that's what they were trying to show here. I'm not going to go through all of this. I'm trying to be short and discreet and get out of here. But what I did want to do is this. If we come over here, here is the case study on their website. This was posted in January of 2023, where they show in here the case study of how Amazon built the stores and so forth and so on, and basically the networking behind it. I will probably go over this. I'm probably gonna have to do a series because it's 43 minutes long, and I'm trying to keep these down between 15 to 20 minutes. One other thing I want to do is also talk about where you can find more information about not just Dent OS, but networking. So here is the One Summit. This is from the Linux Foundation. It deals with networking. Those that are hardcore network people, get your hands dirty, scale, so forth and so on. Check out the One Summit, right? The One Summit 2022 for Linux networking. So let's go through some of these. The power Kubernetes CRDs, lessons for the field, making the edge tamper proof, right? When you think about how somebody can hack a device or so forth, right? Here we go. Disaggregated API, right? Automated VXLANs or VLANs. Deploying Sonic SDN. Protect your application, not the network. Add zero trust, right? And I'm not sure what Dash is. I would love to. I would have to look at that. It's only 2 minutes long. I have to look at that. See, Birds of a Feather, Open Daylight. That project is still around. Smart switches with NVIDIA. This is like I say, this is a knit in the grit when you're talking about behind the scenes, how open source drives products, how open source seeps into the community. This is what it is: deploying and automating at the edge. That should be a good one. That's 38 minutes long. All right. So this just give you something to think about, something to chew on. All right. So last but not least, I want to showcase this right here. So this goes back to that conversation we were just having. This is OCP week, 2020 Open Compute Project. So remember when I was just talking about Amazon and the self checkout, and you can go in, pick up something, and go walk out. Well, here's a landscape of critical to retail and networking. They're showing you here. You have the cameras, they showing you the labels on stuff. They're showing you the sensors that are enabled on these shelves, power on devices, and then right here they're saying 10,000 to 40,000 square feet, right? Just to give you a view of what I'm talking about with the SwitchDev base NOS, Dent OS, Amazon, where it all came from. What does it look like? What does all this mean, right? So I could drop, I'll put together these links and give them to Dee. She could drop them in the description, and you all can go out and look at these for yourselves, and spark information. Again, this is just a tech tip. I just wanted to show you where things came from, where stuff, how you can find stuff, how you can start diving in. You can start looking at the Open Compute project. I'm going to be bringing more of the more Linuxy stuff on Tuesdays. So again, look out for Tech Tip Tuesday. If you want to know where something came from, you come here. I tell you. We're also open to suggestions as well too. I have a whole slew of stuff that I want to go over and want to give to you all. I appreciate you. Don't forget to like and subscribe for Tech Tip Tuesday. And I'm out. I know it's so weird that